and make sure no one ever has the opportunity to steal an election again.
Hi, this is Peter Boykin, and we're going to do a little rundown today about what actually happened in this election. And just a reminder.
And when folks vote, they order what they want, and in this case, they got what they asked for. I went off script a little bit.
This is Peter Boykin, hashtag Go Right. I'll be right back, and we're going to talk about what happened in these midterms and these elections. Be right back.
Sorry to keep you waiting. Complicated business.
Hi, fellow patriots. This is Peter Boykin from hashtag Go Right. Share this right now. Time to go right. This is Peter Boykin, this hashtag Go Right. Okay, so what lesson will the Republican Party learn from this? Hashtag Red Wave became a hashtag Red Splash. But why, at the end of the day, folks, I'm kind of happy. And why am I happy? For one, we literally won locally, the local area. We won pretty big in our area, in our district. We won fully in Alamance County. It was a huge red wave, honestly, in Alamance County. And why did they win so big in Alamance County? It's because of the individuals who ran in the county. They didn't make our county, Alamance, the people who ran. They didn't make it all about LGBT gay rights and abortion issues and social issues in general. Maybe that's a little bit because individuals like myself changed mine, made people look at different angles and had a little bit of understanding. But what we did is we concentrated on the real economics, the real issues of what's really going on and what's really needed of the issue. People didn't dwell on the fact that some people might get a college loan, reimbursement. People didn't dwell on the fact that let's end abortion right off the bat and just change everything. We didn't dwell on the fact of going after, transsexuals and, and transgenders and gays and blaming them for everything. We didn't play the blame game here in Alamance County. Partially because, engaged for Trump, people like myself, who can look at all sorts of sides, and we can be Republicans, but we don't have to be social conservatives, because the world's changing, folks. As much as people might not like it, but the world is changing. And what's going on, folks, in North Carolina, 36% or more of our population is now becoming unaffiliated voters. Brandon Straka, who happens to be gay, or Brandon Strzok, who happens to be gay, he created hashtag walkaway. People walked away from the craziness of the left, and they were to walk, basically how my hashtag is, hashtag Go Right, towards the Republicans. But it didn't mean they had to go all the way to Republicans, because they still held on to a lot of Democrat ideas and liberal ideas. And not all of them are bad. I'll tell you, a lot of Democrats, they actually care about, as individuals, maybe not the party, they care about people and the welfare of people, which is life, liberty, and pursuit of happiness. Unfortunately, a lot of the politicians, this left and right, but especially on the left, they're morally corrupt individuals who don't know how to run our country. Republicans, though, they know how to run our country. That's what's really good about that. Problem is, they're not so good on some of these social issues. So what are we learning from this, folks? Is that as we are growing, and there's diversity out there, and there's this awareness, which some people call woke. But if you look at the Webster's Dictionary of woke, means worrying about social injustice, worrying about racism, etc. Now, the liberals, they take it too far. The liberals take it too far. Kind of like how we say with the leftist, leftist gays, they go too far. But if you can take around that moderation, then we've got a lot we can work on. I've had to deal with some individuals online just after the party. One individual named Hussein Hill, who is supposedly an ex-gay in the manner of a Milo Yiannopoulos type, who has worked for the local North Carolina GOP, which I always thought it was cool that the local GOP had a gay Republican working with their debts. And now it seems like this individual has become a anti-gay, supposedly a Christian conservative, which to me I think is a fake Christian conservative, who's working now in that party, who decided to spend the last couple of days harassing me. Now, the thing about it is, we now see what's going on in this election. In this election, folks, the Donald Trump people, the big Donald Trump people, the same people that had no problem with Richard Grenell, Caitlyn Jenner, Peter Thiel, Donald Trump flying the rainbow flag. They really didn't have a problem with gay marriage, per se, because it had nothing to do with the religious marriage. It was government marriage. They were okay with it. They got over it. We were good. You had cheering. You had a few people who wrote the background stuff. The people who wrote things and still didn't really like the gay, stuff going on. But the crowd ultimately cheered, and they had no problem. Gays were finally being embraced in the Republican Party, more than just a log cabin since 1977. We've had Lady MAGA. We've had Scott Pressler, people love. We got Brandon Straka. People don't really give me too much stress. Gay Republicans are part of what we are, and people are realizing that. And we're growing. But then we have the evangelistical fake Christians, who want to come in and say gays don't belong in a Republican Party. The only people who belong in the Republican Party are people just like us, particular people like the Nick Fuentes of the world, the other people who preach hate and negativity. Well, that hate and negativity, that stuff kind of bleds over to some of the establishment. And folks, that doesn't win elections. That's where you see a lot of these tight votes, where you see people getting defeated. Are individuals like that getting defeated. They're not really Trump-based. And that's what I worry about the DeSantis base. Now, we can talk about DeSantis. Let me talk about a comment somebody just said. Talking about Milo, just saw a bit of Timcast Live. He is the guest and wearing sunglasses. Timmy et al. Love him, but he's a con man just as surely as Dylan Mulhavey is. Yeah. Milo Yiannopoulos was bought and paid for from the beginning. The Mercers or whoever it was paid for him. A lot of the individuals like Charlie Kirk and Candace Owens, not saying they're fake, but so did Milo Yiannopoulos, came out of Gamergate. And they boosted these individuals. And I think Milo Yiannopoulos was boosted to make gay conservatism look bad, because he took it to an extreme. And then he turned into this anti-gay, shock nobody on Telegram. That, I follow, because every once in a while he's a broken clock person to me. It's like Marjorie Taylor, Milo, AOC, broken clock people. Every once in a while they say something important that I'm interested in. They're not just talking points, so they go beyond things. But here, we're talking about here in the election, this midterm. So last night in Alamance County, we swept the board. We made Alamance County red. Now, Steve Ross got his seat back. He got his seat back a little bit a little bit separate. Yeah, this is recording a little bit. I'm also kind of recording the audio on Telegram. I know it's messing up. I apologize. I don't know why I can't get a good signal lately. Hopefully you can get the gist of it. But, you know, if we want to get perfect, I could just do it on my phone. But, continuing on. So the Milo Yiannopoulos of the world, you know, that's a distractor. These people are distractors, like Hussein Hill. He's a distractor. Now I really question what he was doing while he was working in the Republican Party. But then people go, well, some people in the Republican Party say, you, Peter Boykin, are a distractor. Believe me, ain't nobody paying me. Nobody's paid me a dime. Nobody's got me. I'm not a distractor. I'm a real Republican. I'm a real constitutionalist Republican. If you want to classify me as moderate, conservative, blah, 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 when it comes to the Republican Party, people on the right, we are all over the map. And I've changed over the years. I have opened up more, less hardcore, you know, and more understanding of individuals. Because ultimately, our job of our government is protecting and defending our people. At the end of the day, our people. And protecting and defending some of those things the Republicans demonize the left for doing, which is like trying to, you know, there's a lot of people out there trying to get homelessness off the streets and, you know, doing stuff with drug problems and, you know, caring about people's college loans, etc. Things that some people on the Republican side, unfortunately, demonize. And it makes us look like assholes. And it makes us lose midterms. Why? Think about it, folks. Why are we so 50-50, neck and neck? Half of our nation is this way, half of our nation is that way. Meanwhile, we've got an unaffiliated, large, growing base of people who walked away from the Democrat Party. People are walking away from the Republican Party. A lot of it has to do with the gays. I mean, it's because that's because I'm gays for Trump, but a lot of it has to do with the gays. Because you have Republicans who have gay family members, gay sons, gay daughters, family members. The media can demonize the gays all day long until you actually go out and you see what's going on. People demonize the drag queen story hour. They always talk about this shit happen in schools, but how many times do you really see it happening in schools, or do you see it at an after event? Or an event that people have had the freedom to go do an event outside of school, outside of an environment. It's a bookshop or bookstore or some other event somewhere. And you've had extremism happen where people come up protesting, which they have the freedom to protest, but they come up like what's happening is the Proud Boys, unfortunately, have become very, very, very radical, at least in North Carolina. And it's to a point where they almost fed posting in a way because of how much gear they have on. It's just completely different than what the Proud Boys I've seen in the future. The same Proud Boys that had no problem defending Gays for Trump events in the past, who helped and defend us in the past. But now we have these so-called Proud Boys in North Carolina showing up at these drag queen story hours, these drag bingos, etc., which are, you know, private events that people privately can take their children to or whoever they want to. That's their prerogative in America to do that, and there's no crimes being committed. Nobody's stripping or anything like that, but they're outside harassing children. You want to sit there and protect the children, but you're harassing the children outside. And I know I'm going for a long tangent. We were supposed to be talking about the election. So let's scoot all that out for a moment. Now let's talk about Bo Hines' election here in North Carolina. Bo Hines, at one time, I was going to run against him. He has way much more money. I brought up the issue. I still like, now, regardless of what I say about Bo Hines, I like the guy. I think he would have been doing great in Congress. I'm disappointed that he lost. I wanted him to win. I did bring up the point that he is a kid of wealth that came from wealth. His parents worked for it, which is what you can do in America, so I'm not bashing his money. But he went to college. He went to a liberal college, and he was supposed to be a lawyer, and he was living off his dad's trust fund that helped him run for office. My question had always been, how much do you really know about paying for bills, struggling for bills, the everyday life of people, if you've never really experienced it? Hopefully when he was on the campaign trail, he experienced a little bit, understood and listened to people. I don't know. But they threw him into District 13 hoping that he would win. Now, here's the problem. During the primary, people were trashing him during the primary. And then he ultimately wins and gets Trump's endorsement, of course. Which is not a knock on Trump, because Trump endorsed a lot of people. And some people win, some people don't win. Mostly the people Trump picked win. But he was trying to help our state. It was a very tight race. And it was also a long run. It was a long run. So it's disappointing he didn't win, but we kind of knew it was the possibility. Unfortunately, here, even though in Alamance County, we won everything, we didn't win our U.S. congressional seat, because they moved our maps to try to help other districts. They gave us up, intentionally gave us up to blue zones, which hopefully we can fight back, because we can say, we're a red area, give us a congressional candidate 2 years from now. So, let me talk about Bohines. So, part of that is this establishment base, the anti-Trumper type people that don't like new people. They don't like a breath of fresh air. I mean, I was just at our party for Sheriff Johnson, great guy. 80% of the people there, maybe 90% of the people there, old white Republicans. Nothing wrong with that, but we need to expand. We need more youth. We need people of color. We need more gays. We need more of everything. Our base is dying. Conservatives in the old school, the old Ronald Reagan era, I mean, everybody talks about Ronald Reagan, but he was a Democrat. I mean, come on. He was a uniter. People kind of liked Bill Clinton for a while. People love Trump. Every time that works, it's because you're involving everybody. So, these same people attacked somebody like Madison Cawthorn. Again, another young, America First, Trump supporting, beat the swamp, and what's scary is they brought out the whole, is he a gay, is he gay, here's his old video, here's this. They did all sorts of dirty things during the primary. And let me tell you though, he almost won. He barely lost his pre-primary, and he should have never been primaried. He never did anything that bad to be primaried. I'm glad we won the district. It turned out to be a red district anyway. There were some bad moves on Madison, but that anger and that throwing knives and everything and messing with Madison Cawthorn and the youth did not translate well when it came to Bohines, who was a friend of Madison Cawthorn, who went and spoke with Madison Cawthorn. So you rejected the young, the youth, the new aged anti-establishment Republican for the old, controllable, sane, whatever, blah, 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 vanilla Republican congressperson, just fit in. So what did you expect was going to happen with Bohines' race? Another young, very young, I mean, he's 26 years old or something, very young Republican, young base, new energy, America First, Trump supporting, like TPS USA, kind of Charlie Kirk kind of thing going on. People rejected him. They didn't come out probably like they should have. They didn't feel enthusiastic. And why? Because you keep pushing these establishment folks, these anti-gay, not want to change, social conservative, quote, Christian conservatives. I'm sorry, the Christian conservative movement, I'm a Christian. I'm a Catholic. People try to say I can't be a Republican and Catholic, I can't be gay, and they give me that whole argument. There's no point in arguing that. We're talking about politics, not theocracy, not religion. We can argue about religion all day. People fought and died over religion. We're talking about when you are in office, you have to take care of everybody, every single person. Every single person you have to be the representative of. And that includes people you might not agree with. People who you think probably should go to hell. It starts thinking about the people. It's not just the vote, the number. You've got to get the people involved. And you're not getting people involved because of this polarizing. Now let's talk about this polarizing part. So one of the biggest issues in this election was abortion, honestly. The Supreme Court had made this decision to throw out Roe versus Wade. It's always been this pro-choice or pro-abortion versus the pro-life. Somebody says we could start by increasing our turnout at the polls. I agree. And how else do you get people to turn out at the polls is by actually talking about things that matter every single day. Abortion is a huge issue, yes. But it doesn't matter in the long scheme of things for everybody. It's sort of like the transgender issues. It's really not important enough for you to even care about it as a Republican because it so much affects such small amount of people, small amount of the voter base. You're alienating other people just because you want to go after that small amount. Why? Now, I absolutely cannot. I hate abortion. I hate nuclear energy. But we have both, and we have to learn how to deal with it. Roe versus Wade had a lot to do with the vitality of a child. Now, I know some Christian-based people would say, well, life becomes at conception, and, any abortion's murder, etc., etc. Folks, then I guess every time you masturbate, honestly, you're killing babies. Every time you have sex without, you spit and swallow and all that over, people do it. Even Christians, you're aborting babies, right? The biggest problem was we were having these late-term partial birth abortions, this nastiness that was going on. And so instead of the Republicans jumping on the bandwagon, like, we've got our chance to end abortion, period. And that's what the big thing that the left used on us. They're trying to take away your women's rights to your body, etc., etc. Now what's funny is the lesson that was learned from COVID. I learned this my body, my choice. I don't think they should be able to give us or make us mandatory take shots and take our children shots, the things that can endanger our bodies. Now, women have always said, my body, my choice when it comes to abortion. And we were like, no, we should interject, blah, blah, blah. There's been this debate. Usually it comes down to a compromise, folks. Donald Trump's song, you can't always get what you wanted, but you're going to get what you need, goes right along with this. So at the end of the day, this pro-choice, pro-life kind of doesn't matter. At the end of the day, the point is to try to reduce the amount of abortions there are, to make sure people are using proper protection, to people using Plan B right afterwards if needed. They have the technology, they can figure out if they're pregnant right away, reducing the time that you have to have such a thing, but still give people access to their body until it becomes not just your body, but it becomes a viable, and then it becomes two at that point. And then we have to worry about the liberty of that unborn. But we have to figure out, trust the science, etc., or whatever, and figure out that point. That's what we need to do. But no, they have us go straight to no abortions, no conception, no exceptions, no this, no that. And that just gives the left this strong defense, and also all the commercials. And that's what they used. And that's what divided everything. It's sad. And another thing that the Republicans fail on doing is we say we want babies to be born. But then what do? George Carlin said a long time ago, the pro-lifers, get him. They're all about having a baby, having a baby, having a baby. Oh, once they had the baby, all right, good luck. And then they're done. So we have to say, you want to have a baby, we have to somehow help you out. You want this baby in the world, we have to help people, help our mothers, help our unborn children, our born children, and some programs. And I know every time we talk about social programs, it's somehow socialism or communism or Marxism. Like, I love the ones that say Marxism has to do with you because you embrace gays. That's Marxism. You're leading communism. Really? Russia is communist and they hate gay people. So how is that? They're a Marxist, communist, whatever, viewpoint of, and they don't like gays. They don't like Muslims neither. So don't give me that crap. We are a nation of we the people. Okay? We the people, by the people, for the people, all the people, life, liberty, and pursuit of happiness for everybody. And that's what we got to do. We got to start reaching out. So the Republican Party of the future, and this is this argument this Hussein guy wanted to have with me about, I wasn't a real Republican, I wasn't a Christian, I wasn't a conservative, and that the base is these Christian conservative base members. No, that's quite literally what Donald Trump got us away from. That's why he was so enthusiastic. That's why they have tried to work hard to get rid of the MAGA wave. There's certain establishment that are never Trumpers. They want Trump to fail. They're happy to try to blame this midterm on Donald Trump. It's not Donald Trump's fault. Donald Trump's almost all his picks won. In the grassroots areas that worked hard for Donald Trump, we won. Big time. Big time, folks. Now, everybody wants to tout DeSantis. They've been pushing DeSantis on and over and over and over and over. And it's not just the don't say gay bill or whatever they tried to do. DeSantis was not this great person that everybody thinks he was, on everything. Like, I thought, oh, he's so great when it comes to, the whole, they were saying, oh, he's so great when it comes to the whole COVID issue. But even that got downplayed because even DeSantis at one time said, take the shot if your possibility of getting COVID is low if you take the shot. DeSantis said that. DeSantis also was pro. He's quoted on saying, he was pro red flag laws and other things. He wasn't the savior that everybody thinks he is. I mean, honestly, he's not. But people need to understand that. But they keep pushing DeSantis, and now everybody's talking about all this plus 20 lead that DeSantis won. He won so big, and he's the new face of the Republican Party, etc., etc. Well, let me tell you, and I get online, I seem like everybody's moved to Florida. So if all Republicans are moving to Florida, Florida's become this like Republican mecca that's like the Democrats are in California, and Republicans are now in Florida. And DeSantis won because Florida is this huge Republican state, which is great. But just because he won 20 points in Florida doesn't mean he won 20 points in the whole United States. Because I will tell you, America will reject a DeSantis harder than Trump. Honestly, harder than Trump. There's a lot of Republicans that don't like DeSantis, and I don't really care for him that much. I don't even do many stories with DeSantis in it. I think he'll be fine as governor. I think or whatever and continue on that field. That's great. But we know DeSantis is another Pence. Trump knows this. This is why Trump is attacking DeSantis. Not because he's afraid. I mean, DeSantis, he's already said he wasn't going to run against Trump. It'd be stupid. It'd be foolish. Trump will win. Trump will win big. Some people say Donald Trump is a liability, blah, 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 blah. I don't believe that crap. Donald Trump is truly a man of the people, the voice. People rally behind Trump. Thousands and thousands and thousands of people camp out at Trump rallies, not DeSantis rallies, not anybody else's rallies. Not even supposedly this President Biden at 80 million voters. Nobody comes with his shit at all. Nobody comes to Democrats. So what did we happen? What happened? What happened? Some of the problems that we ran into, folks, is this Republican Party did not press hard enough on the 2020 elections. You literally have the media running around calling election deniers. I've seen Fox News reports where they say election deniers. I think it's like we're some kind of conspiracy. Like election deniers have now become like conspiracy theorists. And they let all this BS go on constantly. And they haven't done anything. They've left it up to supposedly the QAnon people, the Mike Lindells, and the eccentrics. But the mainstream is afraid to talk about the election. Because namely places like Google won't let you talk about it. Just going out to Google. So, all right, Google, I'm not saying anything. You want to say later on, I'm talking about an election, blah, blah, blah. That's just people's opinions, whatever. What we're talking about. The election. Let me talk about things. Let me talk about media stuff. I can't talk about stuff if they cut you off. And that's a lot of politicians get a cough because they can't talk about things. And we're talking about, in a general sense, election fraud. Whether it be 2020 or any other election, we're talking about the fact is we need to secure our elections. We need to do things to make elections better. So we feel better and more confident. And in Alamance, we did a paper ballot. And we took it up to the machine. We scanned it in the machine. And we saw if it took it or not. They gave us our sticker, and we felt more confident at the end of the day. And our election bureau posted our results pretty quickly. We knew pretty much by the end of the night, in most elections. We don't have these runoffs and things as much as they do in some of these other states. We have to take a deep dive of what's going on in these states. And that's what the scary part is when it comes to a presidential election, because you got so many rules, so many states, so many things that can affect the presidential election. That's why I would always push for a more streamlined way of electing our president, a more across the board, same type of rules, same period of time to, because if you got one state allowing, 17 days of early voting and the other states only allowing like 10 days of early voting for the president, how fair is that? It should be one set of votes across the nation for the federal office of the president, which affects everything. I'm not talking about changing the state stuff or your Congress people or your senators or etc. The presidential election should be absolutely, for me, I think, separate ballot, separate machine, done differently, time frame, etc., because that's how important that election is. And how different it is in all the other elections, and how we can't allow one state to affect the other state's outcome. It's kind of BS when that happens. That's why it's so important to make sure that our presidential elections, whether they be Republican or Democrat, be secure. So overall, folks, let's say we talked about the main issues. We talked about the Bohines. We talked about my little issue going on with individuals. All I got to say, folks, is continue the grassroots effort. Don't pay attention one way or the other, red wave or not. Pretend every day that we're not going to win huge. Work harder than you ever have. And there's going to be a divide. There is people who absolutely are going to reject Trump, I don't know why, and say that DeSantis is the way. And then there's people like me who are like, what the hell? I hope that's not what the Republican Party is going to be. Because I'm going to tell you, if they continue down this palette of DeSantis, and anti-Trump, what's really going to happen, and what people are scared of, is you're going to have a splinter of Trump supporters separating from the Republican Party even more. And they're going to join the unaffiliated area. And what's going to happen is we're going to have the Democratic Party, which needs to be broken up anyway, along with the new-ish Republican Party, the Trump Party. of unaffiliated and Trump supporters. And that little half base of whatever Republicans that are all gung-ho for DeSantis and saying screw over Trump, they're not going to get anywhere. And then what ultimately happens is, do we have 3 parties or do we have 2 solid parties in that, over there? What we have to realize is that ultimately we're getting a middle ground. We've been middle ground 50-50 for the longest. So the Republican Party wants to grow. We have to start learning how to admit that we have to cave on some things. You have to compromise. You can't always get what you wanted, but you're going to get what you need. We have to come to the table and compromise. Because otherwise, like people are saying, it's a civil war kind of, BS. We're going to go down. We're going to keep going down the wrong path. And this world really is going down the wrong path. And we can keep blame gaming all day long. We can blame the left, we can blame the right, we can blame this, we can blame that. When I have to deal with individuals supposedly on my same side, supposed to be on the same side as me, who are like bashing all gays, spending more time bashing Republican gays, which makes no sense because we're fighting for you, and at the end of the day, we're your freaking voters, We have to deal with lieutenant governors who are bad-mouthing people and generalized messages, gays and other people as well. We have to deal with some of our candidates who are just as morally corrupt, but somehow at the end of the day, we got to vote for them, namely one in Georgia. Because it's just admitted that you made a mistake. That's all. Just make a mistake. Christians are supposed to forgive, right? Just admit it. Quit lying about it. I'm not going to be running out here saying I'm ex-gay just so I can appease people. Like that certain person's trying to tell me, and Milo Yiannopoulos as well, whatever he is. He's a British guy. He doesn't even matter. He's moot when it comes to politics because I don't even think he's an American citizen. The hell with him. But at the end of the day, folks, we have to grow a better party. And I've said this multiple times. You can spend all year talking about, blacks, black Republicans, women Republicans, men Republicans, Latino Republicans, Mexican Republicans, every other ideology group, every other race, creed, religion, Christian Republicans, etc., whatever. But when it comes to gay Republicans, we always get crapped on because people go, well, you got to tell us you're gay. Well, why do I have to listen to your anti-gay rhetoric? Because people do that. If you don't want me to run around saying I'm a gay Republican, then why do I have to keep hearing all this generalization about gays are horrible and bad and they're all on the left? I've said this before. Being gay is not a political party. Being part of the LGBTQ is not a political party. Just like being black is not a political party. Being a woman is not a political party. Being Latino is not a political party. Being a male is not a political party. Being white is not a political party. So when the hell is being gay a political party? Every human being out there has the mind to vote for what they want. And until this party figures that out, we're going to continue having these really shitty midterms. Because we need to figure that out. And this message is not just preaching to the choir. This message is going out to our base, our Republican Party, our establishment, our non-establishment, everybody out there. If you want to really save America, you need to save the party. And you save the party by learning that more than just you and what you think Republicans are belong. And we can debate about it. But at the end of the day, we need to win these elections. We have to think about who we put in the primaries. We got to think about who can actually win elections. The left have no problem putting whoever. They'll put Fetterman up, Well, let's talk about Fetterman. Everybody made fun of the Shrek-looking guy. They produced, they put memes, they put everything out. They kept putting so much concentration on this election. At the same time, they forgot that so many people did not like this Oz guy. because he was supposedly ex-Democrat, blah, blah, blah. And what happens at the end of the day? Fetterman wins. And why did Fetterman win? Because you put so much emphasis on this. Republican Party has gotten pretty nasty. For some people, honestly, for a party that really supposedly hates gays, sure got that sassy gay vibe going on with these memes and stuff about people. Sure are stealing it from the gays, but we could teach you a little bit better if you just let us in. That's all I got to say. At the end of the day, we have to form a better Republican Party. We need to reach out to the unaffiliated voters. And we need to actually understand our job is to represent every single individual in our county, city, local, state, our government, our whatever. You, as a representative, just because you're a Democrat or Republican, you represent everybody. Everybody. And that's what you got to do. You have to learn that. You have to learn what people are going through. I'm going to spend the next year trying to talk to chairmen in North Carolina to try to help the party, to talk to people in Congress here in North Carolina to learn about the issues and learn about North Carolina. I'm looking towards 2024, and I'm going to push hard with all the groups that I have for Trump-like people, Trump Nation, people who will understand that we have to help our people. Points are mute when you have, they're mute when you have $60 billion plus or whatever to send to other countries, no matter what badness is going on, no matter how bad it is over there. We're literally suffocating over here, not putting the mask on ourselves and a plane going down while we're running around and every other passenger is in another country and we're putting our masks on every other person, and meanwhile we're ignoring ourselves and we're going to suffocate. I can't breathe. Not coining that thing, but I can't breathe anymore. And think about it, folks. This midterm election was supposed to be the most important election in our future, and it didn't go well. We'll be saying that about 2024 soon, how it's important. 2024 starts today. It's time to start learning about what matters and reaching out to everybody. To everybody. This is Peter Boykin, #GoRight. Thanks for listening. I'll follow up as I get more. Sorry if it broke up a little bit. Thanks for listening. Again, we got this guy's future to protect.
Mom, Dad always want me to know how great America is. So, we're always seeing historic things and beautiful places all around America. But I don't know. The way things are going, I wonder what it'll be like when us kids get big. We got a right to the same kind of America they had, don't we? So come on, everybody. Give us kids our chance.
God bless everybody. Peace. Please share this. Thanks for listening to Go Right with Peter Boykin. Please like this post, and please subscribe and follow and share this podcast to all your social media accounts, and visit GoRightNews.com for more Go Right News with Peter Boykin. If you like what you hear, help support the podcast by donating. The link to donate is on GoRightNews.com. Thank you for your support. Check out this news story and more on GoRightNews.com and the podcast #GoRight with Peter Boykin. Go right and register to vote. Your vote matters, so vote. Go right and vote. #GoRight. Go right. Do right. Be right. Go right. Do right. Be right. Lead right. Think right. Vote right. Vote right. Think right. Lead right. #GoRight. It's time to join the Go Right movement. It is time to #Go Right for America. Join us at GoRight.us and GoRightNews.com. It is time for the Great American Revival, and it is time to #Go Right
for America.
Thanks again, everybody, for listening to this, and please share it everywhere. Again, this has been #GoRight with Peter Boykin, a part of Go Right News.